Hello, everyone. When you suddenly see your account jump to $100 million, in that instant, many foolish people dream up countless misguided plans for spending and protecting that money. Without experience and calm, they easily fall into mistakes such as indulging themselves to make up for the hard years before, setting aside a small portion to gamble, thinking that if they lose, they still have plenty left, and if they win big, they'll be even richer, or buying real estate because they believe property never loses. All sounds reasonable at first. Enjoy a bit for fun, try your luck a little, and real estate never goes down, right? But those seemingly harmless plans are actually holes in the bottom of a boat. One small hole might be okay, but many holes let water rush in fast. The ironic thing is that the foolish only realize they need to bail water when it's already too late and the boat is bound to sink. Money works the same way. It doesn't vanish in a day or two. The foolish only realize they've wasted a lot when there's just a little left to finish paying for the foolish plans already underway, and that last bit is sure to leave them soon too. Today I'm going to lay out and analyze 10 thoughts of a fool who suddenly has $100 million, so that if at some moment in your life you catch yourself making the same mistakes, you can correct them immediately. Listening to this video can also help you fall asleep or relax more easily. Remember to like and subscribe. If you're curious about what a fool might think in a particular situation, leave your question in the comments and I'll break it down for you. Thank you so much. Now let's get started. $100 million will last a lifetime. There's no way I could spend it all. That so much money it could never run out feeling shows up when we're used to comparing it only with the small everyday expenses. But money rarely vanishes in one big purchase. It usually leaks from many places at once. First, the amount you pay on a single bill isn't necessarily the whole cost. Taxes, fees, paperwork costs, consulting, currency exchange, and more quietly eat away at the balance over time. Second, people often confuse buying something once with funding it forever. A house, a car, a yacht, or a collection isn't just the purchase price. It comes with maintenance, docking or parking, insurances, staff, utilities, upgrades. These regular costs are like tiny pumps that pull money out of your account every day. When many small pumps run at once, your 100 million can drain fast. Third, a lavish lifestyle escalates quickly. Once you get used to higher-end food, housing, travel, and entertainment, your fixed monthly costs shoot up. Bigger home, higher household spending, more gifts, longer trips. Keep those habits for a few years and the outflow becomes larger than you ever imagined. Fourth, social pressure multiplies expenses. Unplanned helping out, tossing money into friends' ventures for fun, or sponsoring things to save face. Kindness and pride are fine, but without clear limits, they become open channels for money to flow out continuously. Fifth, investing without understanding leads to heavy losses. Thinking my capital's big, a small loss won't matter, people agree to vague deals promising dreamy returns or rush into once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. Add hidden costs, murky profit sharing, market swings, and outright scams, and just a few bad large decisions can sweep away a fortune. Sixth, time quietly spends your money. A lifetime still has decades ahead. Health, family, children's education, unexpected events. If you don't turn a lump sum into a durable income stream, before long, the remaining balance will feel inadequate because the money keeps shrinking while monthly fixed costs keep rising. Finally, a lack of systems is the shortest path to losing everything. No spending caps, no cash flow tracking, no emergency fund, no principles when signing documents. In short, no control. The money slips away, and you don't even notice until it's gone. Why are foolish people so prone to thinking that 100 million will never run out? First, the number is so large that it blurs our sense of reality. We're used to doing the math in meals, a phone, a vacation. When we see a figure thousands of times bigger, the brain automatically treats those things as trivial. Second, people often confuse a large lump sum with a large cash flow. A big pile of money feels safe, but life spins month by month, year by year. If you don't use that lump sum to create a stable cash flow, every indulgent decision is another slice shaved off the pile. Third, People see the purchase price but ignore the add-on costs. The more showy the thing, the more expenses it drags along. A large house brings utilities, furnishings, and caretakers. The pricier the supercar, the more fuel, tires, and insurance. The bigger the yacht, the more docking fees, crew, and maintenance. The joy of owning long-dreamed-of luxuries drowns out the question, do I actually have the capacity to cover those ongoing costs over time? Fourth, people easily mistake luck for skill. Holding a huge sum makes you feel upper class. I can spot opportunities and I understand the market. That confidence pushes them to sign in haste and believe in haste instead of slowing down to learn, compare, and test. When a lucky decision happens to be right, they trust themselves even more and gradually downplay the risks. Fifth, fear of missing out drives risky choices. Social media, friends, forums, everywhere is buzzing. Hurry before it's gone. Everyone's in already. The pressure to not be left out makes people spend just to avoid missing out with no clear plan. Once they're in, they hesitate to pull out for fear of being judged as lacking conviction. Sixth, the need for recognition is real. Suddenly wealthy, a foolish person wants to prove they have lots of money. Clothes, cars, parties, gifts, donations. These are the easiest signals to show. The problem isn't enjoyment itself. It's the urge to save face with everyone around them. They want everyone to know they're rich. And once they get used to the praise, they keep maintaining that upper class image even when the money is close to running out. 2. Getting swept into an unhealthy lifestyle. Endless partying, drugs, prostitution. It sounds like blowing off steam for fun, but these are recurring expenses that snowball over time. A party isn't just a one-night bill. It drags along transport, designer goods, gifts, VIP tables, service upgrades, and more. With drugs, tolerance grows. The next time has to be more to feel the thrill. Costs soar while creating zero value. Sexual services are high-ticket, prone to hidden fees, and carry risks of exploitation, blackmail, and scams. These outlays are like small faucets left running. The tank drains fast. The indirect fallout is even heavier. Sleep deprivation and fatigue hurt your work. You make rash choices and sign papers carelessly. Business relationships wobble because you miss appointments and deadlines. When trouble hits, fights, accidents, lawsuits, medical care, you face a fresh stack of bills. Add the costs of keeping things quiet, cleaning up the mess, replacing phones, and changing numbers due to harassment. Future income drops, lost reputation, lost opportunities, while current spending rises. When you suddenly need cash, you're forced to sell assets at rock-bottom prices or borrow at high interest. Why are foolish minds easily drawn into unhealthy living, endless parties, drugs, prostitution? First, we all like quick rewards. After stressful days, a night of partying brings instant pleasure. Because the joy is immediate, it's easy to repeat. But every high fades quickly. To keep the buzz, your brain and emotions demand more. More parties, pricier services, bigger fun. Costs climb. Second, the foolish tend to think, I have plenty of money. A little fun won't hurt. Holding a large sum makes them feel life is now safe, and they drop the self-discipline they had when they had to work hard. This belief makes them lax toward things that actually require strict discipline, stimulants, prostitution. Third, the need for recognition. Parties, expensive items, and appearing where others cheer and defer to you are status signals. Likes, compliments, admiring looks are social rewards. Once accustomed to them, you won't abandon the habits that maintain that image. If you were like that yesterday, you must always be like that. Fourth, the herd effect. People tell fun, glamorous stories about unhealthy living. Few share the mess. Social feeds full of glossy images make the foolish think these vices are normal. Group approval slowly replaces old boundaries. Everyone's trying it, surely it's fine, becomes a trap. Fifth, early on, the foolish often rationalize. They relabel negative behaviors as entertainment and networking, connection, to justify a harmful lifestyle. And they keep this self-justification even as they feel it spiraling, and the financial and health blows keep coming. Seventh, a negative lifestyle drains your health, especially your nervous system. Frequent partying and stimulants blunt judgment. After a few sleepless nights, your right, wrong, enough, not enough filter dulls. You say yes too easily, transfer money too easily, and fall for sweet talk. Money decisions made in that state are far worse than when clear-headed. Eighth, shame in the loop. When the health and financial damage becomes obvious, they're exhausted, the money is nearly gone, yet they're ashamed to speak up or ask for help. That shame pushes them back into loneliness and sadness, the very place that triggers more spending to relax. This emotional loop keeps them paying and paying, and they can't escape without others' help. Ninth, those who profit from a foolish person's spending make deceitful pitches, assuring safety when it isn't so. People who live off your wallet, service providers, transactional friends, gently persuade you that everything is fine. Surrounded by invitations and flattery, it's hard to stay sober-minded. Without self-imposed limits, the foolish step into temptations with no exit. 10th, the gap of purpose. Without a clear daily schedule and work you're proud of, people seek pleasure to fill the void. Parties deliver the fastest hit of joy, but end the fastest. Therefore, they must be repeated constantly and ratcheted up in intensity. In short, a pleasure-chasing lifestyle, parties, stimulants, and the like, is how the foolish seek quick happiness to ease loneliness and fatigue. Especially when they have a lot of money, they spend freely and are surrounded by people inviting and supplying these services. They cross their limits before anyone even realizes it. 3. A foolish person thinks they can take a small slice to gamble. If they win big, they'll be even richer, and if they lose, they still have plenty left. It sounds harmless. Use a small portion to try it out. If I win big. If I lose, I've still got lots. But this thinking stumbles on a very ordinary fact. Every betting game is designed so the organizer takes a small cut each round. No fancy jargon needed. Just understand that every time you place a bet, a little fee immediately goes to the house, whether you win or lose that hand. A few early wins can be exciting, but the longer you play, the more your money thins out while the house collects more and more of that rake from you. One mistake leads to the next. After losing, people want to chase. The sting of loss makes them raise the stakes to win it back quickly. After winning, they bet bigger because they feel lucky and money seems easy. In this way, the small amount just for gambling swells with every swing of emotion. Keep that up, and they can lose everything they have to gambling, unable to stop. What's more, almost no one keeps gambling fully separate from the rest of life. When they're down, they pull money from elsewhere to chase, dipping into savings, the home fund, or cashing out gains from an investment that was doing fine. When emotions steer, spending rules get pushed aside. A little for fun easily becomes a little more, and that little more repeats with no end. Remember too, gambling doesn't just take money through the bets. It takes your time, attention, and the clear-headed decisions that follow. An all-nighter at the table means fatigue the next day, worse work, rushed choices, maybe signing a contract you didn't read carefully. This indirect price is hard to see immediately, but it steadily drains your chances to earn sustainably. Finally, the hidden side of a big win is a feeling of invincibility. If you happen to hit it big once, it's easy to raise your stakes. But when luck turns at that highest level, a single loss can wipe out everything you won. The pain of losing multiplies, and so do the next bets, far beyond your starting size. So, beginning with a small portion is not safe without firm boundaries and strict discipline. The slippery slope of emotion can slide a huge sum down to zero faster than you think. Why does a foolish mindset think it's fine to take a small amount to gamble? If they win big, they'll be richer, and if they lose, they still have plenty? We like shortcuts. Sustainable earning sounds like running a long road without stopping. They don't want sweat or self-discipline. Gambling promises an elevator. Press a button, and you're on the top floor. With a big sum in hand, the urge to take the elevator grows. I've got a cushion. Let me try a ride. That feeling strongly drives behavior. Naming money softens regret. Calling it entertainment money or play money makes losing it hurt less. Labeling it gambling money loosens your grip, though it's still your money overall. Mental buckets help only with clear management. Used as self-comfort, they blind people to the consequences they'll bear. 3. People easily believe my turn to win is coming. After a few losses, the brain whispers, a make-up win is due. We've all felt that bad luck should eventually flip to good. That feeling keeps you feeding in just to wait for your moment. But the game promises no balance for any one person, and your bankroll is finite. We crave the sense of I have skill. A few lucky guesses convince us we found a system. How to bet, when to stop, how to read signs. That illusion of control is pleasant because it turns chance into skill, but it's only a feeling. The table still works in the house's favor. The outcome is the same. You lose money. 5. A lot feels safe. With 100 million, losing a million sounds trivial. Seeing a mountain standing tall, we treat a rolling stone as nothing. But because the pain isn't immediate, people permit themselves to repeat it. The false safety of a big number makes them lax about decisions that should be strict. 6. Win boasts are everywhere. Losses stay hidden. Friends, social media, forums, people mostly share the big hits. Quiet walks out of casinos with empty pockets, the scattered losses. Almost no one mentions them. Hearing a world where people win all the time, we say, I'll try a few times. Who knows? The present is easier to feel than the future. The thrill of a win is instant. The financial consequences show up weeks, months, or years later. We all lean toward pleasure right now. Emotional fatigue drives us to seek relief. Under work stress or personal issues, a game that offers money and laughter feels like the top choice. Frequency and bet size creep up. The first small stake is thrilling. A few rounds later, that amount no longer delivers the buzz, so you raise it to get the feeling back. No one needs to egg you on. The brain asks for a higher dose on its own. This isn't academic, it's real life. Everything dulls with familiarity. 10. We're great at self-justification. I'm playing to learn. I'm in control. I only use winnings to keep playing. These lines feel smart, but without clear rules, money caps, time caps, how to stop, how to step down, they act like a shield, blocking your view of what's ahead, and you keep repeating mistakes. In short, people choose bet a little. Losing is fine, because the brain loves shortcuts to save effort. Big numbers create a false sense of safety. The world is full of bragging about wins, and we rarely pause to install our own guardrails. The way out of gambling's lure is simple. Call it what it is. Gambling is not wealth building. Therefore, feeling the need to flaunt your wealth so everyone knows. Showing off wealth sounds like a way to do justice to your achievements, but in reality, it opens many doors for money to leak out. Once you've sent the signal, I'm flush with cash, spending spikes to maintain the image. Belongings must be upgraded, the home must look grand, travel must be luxurious, parties have to be lively. Those new fixed costs are like small faucets left running. They quietly drain money month after month. Showing off also brings social pressure. Invitations to relationship investments, requests for help, proposals to buy things to show support, and gifts for form's sake. Without clear boundaries, money gets spent more out of courtesy than out of real need. At the same time, flaunting makes you an easy target. Scams, flattering pitches, fuzzy contracts, even theft. You don't have to imagine anything extreme. Just a few rushed decisions to save face or trusting the wrong people without checking, and a sizable amount is gone. Another consequence is that your standard of living ratchets up. Once you've grown used to compliments and attention, it's hard to step down. Every choice becomes pricier, from the watch and the car to the vacation. Meanwhile, future income won't always keep pace with the new benchmark. If business slows, those big costs keep running, forcing you to draw down reserves, sell assets at a discount, or borrow to keep up appearances. Flaunting doesn't create cash flow. It creates other people's expectations and your own pressure. And when expectations grow heavy enough, the original sum however large, thins out very quickly. Why does a naive mindset so readily believe it must flaunt wealth for everyone to see? 1. The need for recognition. When people come into money, they naturally want everyone to see it. Luxury possessions and glossy photos are the most visible signals, like a badge proclaiming I'm wealthy. 2. The brain loves quick rewards. Likes, gasps, and admiring looks arrive the moment you display something expensive. The feeling is pleasant and addictive. Once you're used to it, you want to repeat and intensify it. Money becomes fuel for feelings instead of a foundation for the long term. 3. Fear of being looked down on. Many show off not from vanity, but from fear that others will think they're not rich. They use outward signs to avoid being underestimated. It works briefly, but costs a lot over time. To avoid losing face, people overspend, overpromise, and sign needless commitments, confusing sharing joy with proving worth. Healthy sharing doesn't require a big stage. Proving your worth always needs a spotlight. When the line blurs, people start buying to persuade others to recognize their value, not to meet real needs. Buying for compliments is not the same as buying for life's purposes. The comparison effect. We see countless glamorous images online each day, even knowing they're just someone's best few minutes. The brain still compares and decides we need the same shine. Comparisons raise standards, and when standards rise, spending rises, often faster than earning power. Making up for the past. Those who lacked things before may feel a strong urge to compensate. I didn't have it then, now I must have everything. That urge is understandable, but if compensation takes the form of constant peacocking, you're soothing yourself with others' praise rather than building a truly comfortable life. A sense of control through image. When life is unpredictable, luxurious images create the feeling that you're in control. But that's surface level. Real control comes from planning, buffers, and discipline. Showing off so others think you're doing fine doesn't make you any safer. It only forces more spending to defend the image. The spotlight blurs boundaries. Under attention, it's easy to say yes to fitting invitations, investments, parties to sponsor, items the rich should own. The mind thinks, I'm part of this group now, so I should act like it, and you sign off budget expenses. This role-playing makes you forget what you actually need. 9. The present crowds out the future. Today's glory is loud. Tomorrow's risk is quiet, without a habit of pausing before posting, before buying, before promising. Today's urge wins. A brief pause is enough to ask, is this simple happiness or the urge to prove myself? A need or a stage performance? 10. A narrow sense of personal value. The naive often don't know what they have to make others proud of besides money, so they rely on money to express themselves, gradually neglecting assets they already possess, like health, capability, and family happiness. In short, people show off because it's a shortcut to feeling seen, reassured, and respected. Every shortcut charges a toll. Spending swells, risks gather, and financial freedom shrinks. The exit is simple. Set personal boundaries. What's public, what's private. Share wins with close friends and family, and value your core assets, a full emergency fund, stable cash flow, your reputation, and your skills. Then others will recognize your wealth naturally, while your wallet stays safe and comfortable for the long run. 5. Fools often postpone plans to study, start a business, and develop themselves. Procrastination sounds harmless. I'll study tomorrow. I'll open the company next year. I'll wait till I'm free, then decide. But every delay is one more time you switch off the money pump to your future while today's spending taps keep running. Without learning new skills, your earning capacity stays the same while living costs steadily rise. You dip into savings to maintain your lifestyle, and those savings slowly dry up with no new source to replace them. A business plan put off for too long misses its window. The good location gets taken, your would-be customers become loyal to a competitor, and the cost of entering next year is higher than it is this year. Money that just sits doesn't generate cash flow, and inflation eats it away. Procrastination and laziness also lead to wasteful comfort spending to soothe anxiety. Instead of sitting down to learn, we buy yet another course so we can feel we're getting ready. Instead of writing the plan, we buy more equipment and tools to boost motivation. Buying temporary peace of mind is easy, but it creates no skill and no revenue. By the time we finally start, we've already burned a chunk of cash on things we never used. Every day late is a day lost for compounding. When money is suddenly needed, family, health, work, we're forced to sell assets cheap, or we lunge at risky opportunities just to make quick money. Switching off the learn, work, grow circuit while leaving the consumption switch on is the simplest recipe for losing money pointlessly over time. When we look back, we realize we didn't lose it all in one blow. It leaked away day after day. Why are fools so often psychologically inclined to postpone plans for learning, business, and self-development? First, the present always grips our thinking more strongly than the future. Studying's tiring right now. Launching something is hard right now. Procrastination gives instant relief. The brain chooses the quick reward, even while knowing the slow reward is the one that's steady and reliable. Second, fear of starting wrong. Everyone wants a perfect start, the right teacher, the right book, the right partner, the right timing. Setting the bar too high turns the first step into a step that's too tall. We get scared to climb and just stand there looking. Third, overwhelm caused by vagueness. What should I learn first? How do I begin? What are the pieces of a plan? Without concrete tasks, the mind quickly gets discouraged. When there's no clear step-by-step plan to follow, procrastination becomes a self-defense reflex. Fourth, confusing preparation with progress. Hoarding more videos, saving more articles, buying more courses creates the feeling that everything is being prepared, so we relax today and promise to start tomorrow. And tomorrow plays out the same. The delay continues. Fifth, soothing ourselves with "I'm busy." Busyness makes us believe we don't have time to learn or build. In reality, busy is the wall we hide behind to avoid the fear of failure and the fear of being wrong. Sixth, fear of losing the old image. When we learn something new or open a new path, we risk being not good at it for a while. I'm good at the old thing feels safer than I'm a beginner. To preserve a comfortable self-image, we postpone becoming a new person in a new field. Seventh, comparisons that sap motivation. Seeing how far others have gone makes our first steps feel too small. Discouragement breeds delay, even though every journey starts with a few small steps. Eighth, expecting a golden moment. We wait for the perfect day, free time, good health, great mood, materials ready, partners lined up. That day never comes. Life is always changing, and there will never be a day when everything's ideal. Ninth, no plan and no concrete targets. Without milestones like what must be finished today or what gets submitted this week, we don't feel late. If we don't feel late, there's no reason to start. Feeling still fine is exactly why procrastination wins. 10th, fear of losing freedom. Studying regularly, following a plan, training discipline sound like being boxed in. We delay to keep the sensation of I can do whatever I want. But freedom without a frame charges interest in money and time later. 12th, not having identified one's goals and meaning in life. When you can't connect learning and working with what you truly value, family, freedom, self-respect, contribution, your willpower fades quickly and procrastination wins again. Understanding these very practical mechanisms changes how you think. You don't need to wait for inspiration. Just take one clear small step. You don't need perfection, just consistency. You don't need to buy more, just do the work. Once the learn work grow switch is flipped back on, money no longer has to run out to pay for guilt. It can be fed into the value engine. And once that engine is running, each day you previously delayed will be paid back with a steady stream down the line. 6. Quit right away to enjoy life. No fear of getting bored. Quitting on the spot sounds like a well-earned reward. Sleep in, travel, spend for pleasure. In reality, the moment you quit, you switch off your steady inflow of money, while your outflow not only keeps running, it often runs faster. When you were employed, your company covered a lot. Insurance, checkups, a few allowances. Once you leave, you pay for all of that yourself, and none of it is cheap. Without a work schedule, days get longer but emptier, and when life feels empty, we tend to use money to fill it. Another trip, another shopping day, another just for fun service. The problem is, the thrill of quitting fades fast. To keep that same thrill alive, spending has to rise. If you haven't turned your lump sum into a stable stream of cash, for example, reliable interest, a planned monthly drawdown, each month becomes another slice off your pile. Add normal life hiccups, illness, family matters, house repairs, and your balance drops visibly. Another risk is burning money for appearances. Once you've told people you quit to enjoy life, it's hard to dial standards down. It's easy to say yes to trips, parties, and purchases just to keep up an image. The feeling of "I've got money ready" also makes you more likely to nod along to vague investment invites. So money can make money to replace a salary. Without discipline and a clear grasp of where your cash is going, a few large-scale mistakes can sweep away a big chunk of what you have. In short, no salary plus rising expenses and no plan equals your pile shrinks faster than you think. Why a naive mindset easily believes you can quit right now to enjoy life without worrying about boredom. First, the brain loves quick fixes for current fatigue. When you're overloaded by deadlines, bosses, and meetings, the thought, "quit now and the pain ends," is irresistibly attractive. Today's discomfort feels far more real than tomorrow's needs. We pick immediate rest and quietly set aside the question, "How will I live month to month after?" Second, we stretch today's feeling into the future. Riding high on having money, we assume the joy will last, but feelings fade quickly. What's exciting today becomes ordinary soon. Without something meaningful lined up to do each day, a void appears after a few weeks of relaxing, and we start spending to chase that early rush. Third, we confuse free time with having a purpose. Quitting gives you time, but it doesn't hand you purpose. Without purpose, days blur. To feel alive, we spend to create activity. Book tickets, book tables, book services. Money turns into a tool to cover emptiness, instead of a tool to build foundations. Fourth, we believe a big stash means the earning part is done. Feeling flush makes us think small interest and tiny dividends will be enough to live on. But the enough you say out loud is not the enough on your budget sheet. Taxes, insurance, family, surprises. If you don't do the monthly cash flow math, you let feelings stand in for arithmetic, and arithmetic sends the bill on time. Fifth, we fear missing our youth prime years. The line, "if not now, when," pushes us to shelve work. Wanting to enjoy life is reasonable, but when it turns into a slogan that justifies every expense, we trade tomorrow's freedom for today's instant pleasure. Sixth, social pressure. Friends, social media, and family have very concrete expectations of what enjoying life looks like. Destinations, gear, lifestyle. We want approval for knowing how to live, so we spend to fit the mold. Buying for praise costs more than buying for need, and it costs more every month. Seventh, overconfidence in earning back when necessary. In the high, everyone thinks, "If I run short, I'll launch a project investment and make up the difference." But once you step out of the work rhythm, your network, pace, and skills can slide quickly. Getting back to previous speed isn't simple. When you truly need money, returning to the race often reveals you're winded. Eighth, we underrate the power of habits. Work gives you time blocks, goals, and rhythm. When that frame disappears, you have to build a new one. If you're not used to doing that, you let things drift, and the easiest action wins: spending. Spending has the least friction, so it fills the void fast. Ninth, pride resists going back. After declaring, "I quit to enjoy life," you hesitate to return to your old job for fear people will say you were too hasty. In short, quitting immediately is the brain's shortcut to less pain, the heart's way to reward itself, and society's applause for shine and glamour. Understand that mechanism to remind yourself freedom needs boundaries, and big money needs a plan. When you set boundaries, how much you need each month, where the inflow will come from, what portion is for fun and what portion is for reserves, quitting to enjoy life can still be beautiful without paying for it with a wallet that quietly runs dry. 7. Fools think that investing in real estate or stocks is guaranteed to be a big win. It sounds perfectly reasonable. Land isn't being made anymore. The economy keeps going up. Businesses keep growing. But money doesn't follow slogans. It follows real cash flow, real costs, and real timing. Buying an asset isn't just the price you sign for. It's also fees, renovations, maintenance, brokerage, management. Prices don't move in a straight line. Real estate has hot and cold cycles. Sometimes it goes nowhere for a long time, sometimes it falls. Meanwhile, interest, taxes, and holding costs keep ticking. If you use debt to amplify returns, a rise in rates, weak rental cash flow, or a hit to your income can force you to sell when the price is bad, selling cheap just to pay the bank. Stocks are the same. A company can deteriorate, face competition, or dilute shares. The market can drop faster than you can react. If you're on margin, falling prices trigger margin calls. If you can't post more cash, you're liquidated right at the bottom. Liquidity, the ability to turn an asset into cash, is what many people underrate. When you need money urgently, an asset that looks great on paper but is hard to sell on the street turns from a strength into a burden. You'll have to slash the price or accept a loss to get out. Over-concentrating in one place, keeping no emergency fund, and having no exit plan, these are quick ways to turn a good asset into a heavy debt. Finally, the crowd tends to buy when things are hottest and to fear when things are quietest. When everyone is bragging about gains, it's easy to buy at the top. When the bad news piles up, it's easy to sell near the bottom. Repeat that a few times and your account gets noticeably thinner. Nothing is sure win if you lack discipline, don't understand what you're buying, why you're buying it, and when you'll stop. Believing in a guaranteed big win turns off your internal alarm system, and that's when money leaves fastest. Why do people so easily think investing in real estate or stocks is a sure win? First, the brain likes simple rules. They're not making more land. Hold stocks long enough and you'll profit. Simple rules make decisions less tiring, especially when you're suddenly holding a large lump of money. But that simplicity ignores context, location, legal issues, cash flow, the company's actual strength, and price versus value. Second, we mostly hear winning stories. Friends, social media, short videos, people show off when they profit. Few share being stuck in a property, cutting losses, or grinding through loan payments. When your information diet tilts toward the bright side, your brain sketches a picture where everyone wins, and you start to believe you just need to step in and pick fruit. Third, people stretch the recent past into the future. After a period of rising markets, the feeling that it will keep rising is strong. The brain takes a short stretch of road as the standard and extends it forward. It's the everyday habit of seeing sun today and assuming sun tomorrow. Fourth, the illusion of control. Read a few groups, look at a few charts, hear a few insider takes, and you feel like you've got the secret. That feeling is pleasant because it tells you you're in charge, but you can't make money off a feeling. You need to understand value, risk, and yourself. Fifth, fear of missing out. Seeing others get in first makes you impatient. FOMO pushes you to jump in just to feel at ease, not because you have a plan. Once in, you resist admitting you were wrong and keep holding, waiting to win. The twin fears, missing out and admitting mistakes, keep you from succeeding in real estate or stocks. Sixth, discounting interest rates when they're low. When rates are low or banks are generous, the brain treats that as a green light to borrow. But a loan is still a bill due on time, no matter where the market goes. In good times, people try to borrow as much as possible to inflate returns. In bad times, leverage magnifies losses and pushes you to dump everything at the worst price. Seventh, intolerance for small losses. The pain of losing 10% is often bigger than the joy of gaining 10%. To avoid pain, people refuse to cut losses early, letting small losses grow large. In stocks, "I'll wait to break even" is a classic line. In real estate, "just leave it there for a few years" sounds sensible. But if you bought the wrong price at the wrong time, daily holding costs are what quietly grind you down. Eighth, avoiding detailed numbers. Long contracts, thick reports, and meticulous spreadsheets are tiring. So we replace them with guesses roughly about this. I heard, estimating can work for small matters. With big money, small errors become big losses. Dodging the numbers hands control to your emotions in the crowd. 10th, forgetting to plan the exit. People enter carefully but don't plan how to get out. They don't set rules in advance. When to sell, the maximum loss they'll accept if wrong, where emergency cash will come from if something happens. When life hits, illness, job issues, family needs, they're forced to sell everything cheaply. Put together, people believe investing is a sure win because the human brain prefers simplifications to save energy, prefers pretty stories, enjoys the feeling of control, and hates missing out. The fix is to swap sure win for where are the risks and how much can I truly bear. Swap I heard for I read and calculated, and swap get in first, figure it out later for enter with an exit mapped. With that mindset shift, the same asset can become a steady cash flow machine instead of a funnel that slowly drains the money you have. 8. Loud, high-profile charity will make you loved and spare you trouble. It sounds reasonable. Give a lot, do it loudly. Let everyone see and admire you, and your problems will naturally shrink. In reality, it's the opposite. Flashy philanthropy opens up new leakage channels for your money. Once you hang up the "I'm willing" sign, appeals will pour in. Without clear boundaries, you step onto the treadmill of next time must be bigger than the last, and costs climb steadily. Beyond the sums you give away, operating expenses eat far more than you expect. Organizing, transport, storage, staffing, oversight, media, reporting. Without tight control, money slipping away en route is common. Going big also brings legal and reputational risk. Large-scale charity needs paperwork, process, and transparency. Rush to catch a wave without proper procedures, and one misstep gets scrutinized. Inflows and outflows don't match. Receipts and deliveries don't align. Promises and actions diverge. If people suspect you're showboating or skimming, you'll spend even more to explain, hire advisors, and manage a crisis. A small oversight is enough to turn a good deed into an expensive fiasco. On top of that, showiness makes you a target for scams, name-dropping, and fake help me files. A few hasty decisions, made for fear of being called stingy, send money to the wrong places. Over time, other people's expectations become your fixed costs. Everyone assumes you can take care of it, and you're embarrassed to say no. When business slows or life intervenes, the commitments you once voiced still have to be paid, forcing you to dip into reserves, sell assets at a disadvantage, even borrow just to save face. You thought charity would reduce hassle. You end up with more headaches and a faster shrinking bankroll. Why do the naive so easily believe that splashy charity will win love and reduce trouble? First, everyone craves recognition. After coming into money, wanting to be liked is natural. Public giving brings instant applause, praise, shares, respectful looks. That feeling is tasty and addictive. To keep it, people up the dose, bigger, louder, flashier. Second, they want quick relief. Some use charity to soothe guilt. I have a lot, so I must give a lot. Giving is good, but if it's used as painkillers for emotions, we'll prioritize speed and noise over checking whether the money reaches the right place in the right way. Third, they believe money is the fastest fix. Compared with sitting down to resolve conflicts, clarifying past issues, or changing how things are done, launching a giveaway drive sounds much simpler. Charity is used like a coat to cover scratches in relationships and image, but a coat doesn't replace polishing underneath. The scratches remain and cost more when they show. Fourth, fear of being called stingy. Fear of public judgment makes people give loosely. Once you're known as generous, pride and ego push you to keep spending to maintain that image. Spending for others' eyes costs more than spending for real needs, and it's a cost that lingers. Fifth, confusing good intentions with doing it right. Many believe heart is enough, so they shy away from processes, numbers, paperwork. Good deeds need good methods, lists, vetting, reconciliations, follow-ups after donations. Skip those dry steps because they kill the vibe, and money will easily miss its proper destination. Sixth, the crowd effect and the stage. Seeing many run big campaigns, we think I should too. The brighter the stage lights, the more we feel we're right. But a stage has stage costs, posts, cameras, crews, events. All of it takes money, while the real impact is often not what we imagine. Seventh, ceding decisions to those around you. With a charity team in place, many owners feel safe handing things off. Teams are incentivized to go bigger to leave a mark and build a name. If the principal sets no limits and doesn't oversee, the goal of helping the right people easily gets mixed up with the goal of making it spectacular. Eighth, personal identity leaning on the good person image. When we view ourselves through that lens, we'll spend to protect it. The moment someone doubts us, we spend more to prove ourselves. Money becomes a fence around the label instead of a tool to help the right people in the right way. In short, people go loud with charity not because they're bad. It's about the need for recognition, quick emotional relief, fear of criticism, and a preference for fast fixes. But every shortcut has fees, rising expectations, rising operating costs, rising legal risk, rising chances of being exploited. To keep giving both sustainable and beautiful, the key isn't volume but boundaries and method. Know whom you help, how much is enough, what the process is, who oversees it, and when to stop. When good heart walks with good practice, you keep both your wallet and the true meaning of charity. 9. Buying houses and cars for family members, or investing in friends' projects to be hailed and respected. At first glance, it sounds beautiful. Make your loved ones happy, earn your friends' admiration, be well liked. But money doesn't follow praise. It follows real costs and the habits that come after. Buying a house or a car isn't just the sticker price. It drags along taxes, fees, registration, insurance, parking, repairs, furnishings, utilities. The recipient often can't afford to feed the asset, so the bills loop back to you. Can you help me this time? A one-time gift turns into repeated support. Big gifts also trigger a comparison effect. Buy for one person, and others start expecting it. Every special occasion nudges you to splash out again to save face. What began as a gift becomes a standard. Meanwhile, public generosity paints a target on your back for invitations to chip in for old time's sake, invest for fun, put in a little to keep team spirit up. Afraid of offending, you sign quickly and check little. When the project hits trouble, you're invited to top up to get through the rough patch. And so the money follows emotion and ego, not a plan. Emotion-based investing usually lacks boundaries. Fuzzy roles, verbal promises, no exit plan. When you need cash in a hurry, that stake is hard to pull out. To exit, you accept a loss. Worse, the recipient may lean on you, "You've got my back," and spend less carefully. You lose money and may damage the relationship if you lay down rules too late. A common outcome, the emergency fund gets drained to feed gifts and rescues. When business slows, you're forced to sell assets from a weak position, even borrow to keep promises. A brief moment of applause trades for a long, slow bleed of cash flow, and that's a fast way to thin your wallet. Why do the foolish so easily think that buying houses and cars for relatives or investing in friends' projects to earn praise and respect is a good idea? First, everyone craves recognition. With money in hand, the wish to make family happy and earn friends' respect is natural. A grand gift or good-looking investment is an obvious signal. It's like a badge, wear it and everyone gets it. The problem is that when you let the badge speak for you, you start depending on it and keep spending so the badge gets bigger. Second, we avoid discomfort. Saying no to family or friends feels awkward and heavy. Gifting or wiring money seems easier on the mind than asking hard questions, requiring a plan, or checking documents. We pick the quick fix to keep the peace. Third, we confuse love with bills. We think to love is to give, and give means money and big things. Yet often loved ones need presence, time, advice, or a long-term path. Using money as a shortcut to closeness is convenient, but it sets the wrong expectations and puts a price tag on affection. Fourth, the urge to compensate. Those who once lacked or felt looked down on may want to make up for it. Now I'll take care of my family in style. My friends must respect me. The feeling is understandable, but if compensation means constant showiness, we're soothing old memories with new invoices. Fifth, mixing up a lump of money with a stream of money. Holding a big sum makes us feel safe, and we assume a few heavy spends won't matter. But life charges by the month and year. If you don't turn the lump into a steady flow and set spending limits, a handful of for old time's sake decisions can punch big holes in your budget. Sixth, the crowd spotlight effect. Compliments, posts, admiring looks arrive instantly. That high is addictive. To get the same praise next time, you need to spend at a higher level. Money gets used to buy instant applause while long-term benefits, reserves, disciplined investing, get underfunded. Seventh, the illusion of safety when investing in people you know. We trust friends not to cheat us, so we're less careful. Fewer comparisons, fewer questions, less auditing. Feelings blur our vision. Risks shrink, numbers get rounded, timelines turn rosy. When problems appear, we're hesitant to press or collect. Eighth, fear of being labeled stingy. That label haunts as much as foolish. To avoid gossip, people overspend even when they know it's unwise. Spending for others' gaze always costs more than spending for real needs, and it's an expense that lingers. Ninth, the habit of rescuing just to be done with it. When a friend's project struggles, just a bit more to get past this rough patch sounds noble. But if nothing changes at the root, every rough patch is followed by another. Without clear conditions before a rescue, you're inviting the next rescue. 10th, identity slowly fuses with the image of the big-hearted one. When you view yourself through that lens, you spend to defend the lens. Any whisper makes you want to prove yourself with an even costlier gesture. Money becomes a fence protecting an image instead of a tool serving your values. Put together, people choose big gifts and friendly funding because they want to love well, keep harmony, gain respect, and feel at ease. Those motives aren't bad. They're human. But without boundaries, numbers, and a plan, money will flow toward others' expectations faster than toward your own goals. Understand this to change the question in your head. From how do I get applause to how do I help rightly, sustainably, and safely for myself? Change the question, and the way you give and invest changes too. Relationships grow sturdier while your wallet keeps its strength for the long haul. 10. Hiring caregivers for your parents or children means you've fulfilled your responsibility. The idea I pay and a professional handles everything sounds neat, but caring for family isn't like ordering food. It's a long, ongoing chain of tasks with rotating shifts and constant surprises. Costs don't stop at the monthly wage. There are agency fees, trial periods, last-minute shift coverage, night shifts, holidays, room and board, assistive equipment, transportation, routine checkups, insurance. When one person quits, you must recruit again, and the bill keeps climbing. Without clear processes and oversight, the money that leaks out on these items is more than you imagine. Not to mention the risks. The caregiver may not be a good fit, may lack the right skills, or make mistakes that lead to damage, falls, infections. The knock-on costs include medical treatment, medical devices, and home modifications, big ticket items. Some households even hire a manager coordinator to monitor quality, adding yet another layer of expense. When busy, many people just pay to get it over with and check less, overbuying, buying the wrong things, getting marked up, having their trust exploited. Let a little leak each month, and a year later, the number's big. More importantly, hire it out and you're done easily puts you on the back foot. Because you're absent and dependent, you tend to choose the simplest response. Rush services, high prices, the safest option, expensive, long-term contracts to stop worrying. If business slows, these fixed costs keep running. Cutting them is hard because your loved ones have grown used to the service. Why do foolish people so easily think that hiring someone to care for parents or children equals fulfilling their responsibility? First, everyone fears being helpless. Caring for the elderly or small children is exhausting and time-consuming. The thought of hiring a professional eases that fear and frees up time for other things. Second, using money to soothe guilt. When busy, we tend to compensate by spending big. Money is the quickest language to say, "I care." That instant relief easily becomes a habit. Whenever there's a snag, spend. But spending for a feeling rarely has limits, while the actual need remains fuzzy. Third, confusing responsibility with a service. Responsibility to loved ones can't be fully outsourced. Time, presence, noticing small changes. Call it a service and you unconsciously believe paying is enough. Your mind turns off part of its radar. Fewer questions, fewer checks. With the radar off, small errors go unseen until the fix is costly. Fourth, believing in specialization. Absolutely. It sounds perfectly reasonable. Let the expert do it. But expertise is only half. The other half is knowing habits, temperament, family context. Without that, even a skilled service can get the basics wrong. Fifth, avoiding difficult emotions, reminding, setting rules, giving feedback. All are hard to say. We fear being seen as nitpicky, so we stay quiet and pay more. Dodging conflict brings instant calm but sets a precedent. Mention money and things move. Over time, every hiccup is solved with money, costly, without fixing the root. Sixth, social comparison. Look around and see nannies, nurses, drivers everywhere. We think we should do that to meet the standard. The higher the standard, the higher the spend. But that standard is set by the crowd, not your actual needs. Living by someone else's standard is the fastest way to thin your wallet. Seventh, the illusion that a big pile of money can rescue any situation. Money makes us confident we can buy whatever's missing. But care is a chain of small daily decisions. What to eat, how to sleep, how to exercise, what to monitor. You can't buy it once and be done. You have to invest attention. Without attention, money flows to the noisy stuff. Premium gear, pricey services, and ignores the quiet stuff. Habits, environment, communication. Eighth, fear of being judged as not taking care of your family. That label is heavy, so we push spending high to keep people quiet. Spending out of fear of gossip often far exceeds real need, and people's talk never stops, so the spending doesn't either. Ninth, believing you can deal with it tomorrow. Busy today, sign for now. Tomorrow, review carefully. But tomorrow rarely comes. Contracts auto-renew, services become the default. The temporary turns permanent, and fixed costs are the surest way to be worn down. 10th, lacking a simple framework to keep yourself honest. Without clear rules, what to hire out, what not to, check-in frequency, spending caps, evaluation criteria, emotions take the wheel. When tired, you add more hours. When guilty, you upgrade the package. A framework helps separate love from showiness, care from overspending. In short, people think hiring completes the duty not because they're uncaring, but because they want less fear, less guilt, less chaos. Very human. The way out is equally down to earth. Define what can be hired and what you must do yourself. Set a spending ceiling and review rhythm. Write down your loved one's needs, habits, and alerts so any substitute can follow. And always keep a little real presence, even if brief but regular. With such a framework, the money you spend becomes a solution, not a funnel. And fulfilling your responsibility will mean warm and genuine rather than endlessly expensive. Finally, $100 million isn't magic, it's just a good boat, and you're the one at the helm. Whether it stays afloat or sinks depends on tiny leaks. A quick "I deserve it," a "just for fun" bet, a "can't lose" deal. If you remember only 3 things, remember these. 1. Don't rush. Big decisions deserve at least 1 good night's sleep. 2. Always count the follow-on costs, not just the sticker price. 3. Turn a lump sum into cash flow. Prioritize safety, consistency, and control. If you've already drilled a hole, don't panic. Stop, plug the nearest leak, then row on. Building wealth is a habit, not a shove. I hope after today's 10 ideas, you've got a few corks to patch your boat. Thanks for listening till the end. Sleep well and relax deeply. If you want to know how a foolish mindset plays out in a specific situation, drop it in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe. Thank you so much.